I'm so excited to be here. Let's put on some music, shall we? So much pressure. Why so loud? Good morning. Welcome to the very first Ask the Coach. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. We're just going to kind of play some tunes and get settled in here until people join us. Feel free to dance and move your body. Yeah, it's Monday morning, people. Hey, Paul. So great to have you here. Thanks for bearing with us last night as we did all of our testing. If you're watching, drop some hellos, good mornings, good afternoons, wherever you are. I'd love to know who's joining us this morning. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Annette. Oh, so great to have you guys here. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We're going to give it a little chance to warm up and get some people on the line here. Good morning, Elaine. Good morning, Nicole. So great to see you, sister. Nicole and I look literally just like sisters. It's crazy. Hello, Annette. Hello, my darling. I'm so glad that you're here this morning. Hi, Kathy. So great to have you. Don't mind. Love a little bit hot. Gone in a flash. Woo! Hi, Lisa. Hello, my girl. Hi, Jess. Oh, my goodness. Getting loads of people this morning. I love it. I love this song, guys. Jessie J, Masterpiece. Woo! Aren't we all working on our masterpiece? That is exactly why we're here this morning. Ask the Coach is all about that. How can we tune more deeply into the masterpiece that we already are? But hold tight. We're going to get some movement around this subject in just a minute. Good morning, Lauren. Great to have you here. Hi, Colleen. Hello, my darling. Colleen's a fabulous graphic designer. She's doing a bunch of stuff for me at the moment, helping getting this brand of mine on point. Stock and Stamp, check her out. So great to have some amazing women here this morning. On my face some tags and I can't color inside the lines 'cause I'm perfectly incomplete. I'm still working on a masterpiece and a masterpiece, yeah. Totally in tune, guys. Loving it. Okay, let's kind of see. All right, we're coming up for 10:04 here. You know what? I think we're going to dive in. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, guys. So, welcome to the very first Ask the Coach. We're going to be here together for the next hour, and if you have to pop off, that's totally cool as well. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to open today by sharing something that's really near and dear to my soul, that is a collection of all of the thoughts, ideas, core beliefs that I have collected as a result of these last few years in the coaching industry. And I'm dying to share them with you because for me, they are the 32 essential life lessons that we need to get clear about as a woman. Hi, Debbie. So great that you're here this morning. So I'm really going to be excited to share those with you. So I'm going to speak, I'm going to teach for about 10-15 minutes or so after I've given this intro. And then I'm going to open up the line for questions. So here's what's going to happen. If you have a question, you can dip it in the comments below. And even better than that, PM me, private message me on Facebook. I'm going to hop over to Messenger on my computer here and I am going to call you and we can coach live. So if you have a question about anything, about something in your business that you want clarity on, about a next step, about a fear that you're having, about something that's not working in your intimate relationship or a relationship with a colleague or a friend, these are all amazing ideas. Anything that's keeping you stuck, this is the place. And I promise that whatever question you have, other people are going to have it as well. So this isn't only for you, this is for the amazing women that are tuning in as well. Your bravery, your vulnerability is going to support them, and I promise you're going to get value as well. So if you're interested in asking a question, if you have a question already, you can PM me right now. Make sure to download Messenger on your phone if you're on your phone and you don't already have it installed. That way I can call you immediately. By the way, guys, this is all a test. So Preston, my husband, we were up till 1 o'clock in the morning last night trying to figure out the best way to do this with phones and computers. So we're just going to see how well this works. So just bear with us in case we have any technical difficulties. But you know what? I am feeling good about how this is going to unravel. So those are the deets. And I'm excited to get your questions answered and do some live coaching over the airs here. Let's see if we have any of that today. I know this is the very first Ask the Coach, so we'll see what happens. So I want to share with you today, Monday morning, seems like the perfect time, that you are freaking magical. I don't know if you've forgotten that. I don't know if you just need to hear that this morning. Gary Vee talks all about the fact that the chances of us being born are 1 in 400 trillion. And I know for those of you who are in Bob's mastermind with me, he talks about this as well. It is so vital that we remember this because we lose perspective about who we are. We get caught up in our fears and these little stories that don't matter. And more than anything, I just want to let you know you're freaking magical. And what you have to offer the world, people are begging for. They are begging for it. And here's why. 1, because you're brilliant. Let me tell you that in case nobody has told you that today. You are absolutely brilliant and you've had the idea for a reason, right? Your intuition is guiding you towards doing this. And if you don't, you actually let other women down. See, here's the thing. What we're meant to do here on earth is so much bigger than us. We forget that all the time, right? We get stuck like, oh my God, what happens if nobody likes me? What happens if somebody criticizes what I'm doing, right? It's not about us. When we are brave enough to step into the ring and try and do and be our full selves, we give permission to the woman standing next to us to do the same. We give hope to the women in other countries who don't even have the options we have because expressing their full self as a woman maybe is illegal, right? So imagine that. We have so many freedoms, and I just want to encourage you that it's bigger than you. That was so helpful to me. I've shared it with so many of my clients. It takes us out of these little brains that we create or that we have and that keep us smaller, and yet the landscape is so freaking big. Hit a thumbs up if you agree with that, right? Send me some love. Let me know that this message is resonating with you because we forget. And if there's one thing I could do as a coach, it's cheerlead you and tell you you're freaking magical. What is it you want to do in the world? Let's talk about how we get there. Yeah, I'm seeing hearts. I love it. Yes, it means we're all on the same page. So here's something I want to share with you. It's called Soul Sessions, Your Manifesto. I wrote it in just a few minutes, which I love, right? That's the sign that you're really in the zone when something just comes pouring out of you. And it is a collection of the life lessons that I believe are essential to being a juicy woman. And when I say juicy, I mean turned on, living life on your terms, living life by your own rules, right? We get so caught up in what we think we should be doing. And the truth is, we can live life by our own rules. And I think when we talk about freedom, that's what we're really dying to do. And so I found that while I wrote this manifesto really quickly, It's a collection of all 5 years I've been in the coaching industry and all of my experience before that, listening to women, working with them one-on-one, running retreats. And I believe if we read this manifesto every day, if we listen to this manifesto, both of those are going to be available to you, everything about our perspective of our life would change. Seriously, I believe this is the foundation of what it means to step into our potential. If there's one thing I've heard women are most scared of, it's stepping into their success, stepping into the ideas that they have that are burning a hole in their soul because they're not doing them. And so this morning, I want to share this with you. If you're in a quiet space, feel free to close your eyes and take this in. Let it hit every inch of your body. If you're driving or if you're just out and about, trust you're going to get exactly what you need. The words are going to hit you exactly as they're supposed to. So here we go. I want to show it to you. Here it is. Soul Sessions, your manifesto. This is just for you. You are magical in ways that can change the world. Did you forget, my sweet soul? May I ever remind you of your magic. Fall in love with the woman you are and share all you know about that journey. You are not designed to experience life and success alone. Sharing is caring. Invest in yourself. It is necessary to become all of you. Did I mention you're magical? I see you. You are worthy of everything you desire because you're you. No other reason needed. Say no without explaining yourself and with love. Say yes and let go of needing to know how and why. Love everyone. What someone else does is about them, not you. Feel your feelings. You're human. You're meant to feel them all. There is no such thing as good or bad. It's our interpretation that causes us all the trouble. Be gentle with yourself. Please be gentle. It's a life-changing skill. Did I mention you're worthy? Cry. Your body is begging you to release. Don't deny the request. You are meant to feel turned on and vibrant as a woman. By virtue of your biology, you bring life into a room with you. Say yes to every invitation to be fun and sensual. Sex is part of a full life. Learn your body so you can orgasm like a wild woman. It's your birthright. Your pussy is your life source. Honor her. She is so precious. Did I mention invest in yourself? You deserve to know yourself intimately. It's your life's work. You are always seen when you think you aren't. There is a force and a life plan greater than your little brain can conceive. Trust. Stop trying to change the process. Let the process change you. Meditate and get quiet often. You'll give clarity room to breathe. Move your body to process the emotion that gets stuck in your cells. You'll always feel fear. Welcome to being human. If you continue to step into the ring, it will cease to control you and hold you back. Vulnerability is a superpower. Get really comfortable with it. When anything happens in life, ask, what is my opportunity here? Mediocrity is for the masses. You always have a choice. Make every decision with intention. keep your side of the street clean. Dance like no one is watching when everyone is. Say yes to your magic. That's it, guys. That is your manifesto. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. What was the piece of advice or the lesson that stuck out to you the most? What was the one that caught you by surprise? What was the one that made you sing? I'd love to hear from you below, so start sharing your comments. I truly believe that these are the most fundamental lessons we can embody. And if we begin to do that, I promise your life can change. You can start stepping into your potential on a regular basis. That can be your normal space. You can see your relationships improve. You can feel that kind of joy about you that just radiates about you as you walk down the street, and that makes other women stop and go, what on earth is she having? Because I sure as heck want some of that. And notice I didn't say another man, I said another woman. Because as women, we can do that. We can show up for each other in that way and recognize the power, the connection, the joy that a woman has in her spirit. I'm so glad that you loved them, Annette. And I also believe that they are affirmations, but they truly are lessons, right? Let's take one of them. I'm just going to pick at random. What someone else does is about them, not you. Freaking love that, right? One of the struggles is that we tend to take everything personally. If somebody shares something that they're not happy with about us, we're like, oh my gosh, we feel like we want to crumble, because inherently, especially as women, more so than men, we're people pleasers, right? And so if I can remember what somebody said is about them, right? They have their own life experience. They have their own belief system that's informing how they're showing up in the world. I can remove myself. It doesn't mean that I'm not human. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to necessarily feel emotional. It means that I can be less reactive if I can really think about that statement and embody the truth of it. And when I'm less reactive, guess what? I don't have to spit back. I don't have to say something I don't mean. I can remember, this is more about what you believe to be true about the world, about the lens through which you view the world based on your past experiences that are informing how you show up and connect with me. And so if I'm not reacting, I can respond, right? Reaction is like, rah! We tend to talk before we think. Responding is sitting back, realizing the truth of that, and then being able to speak from a place of truth in response, accepting where that person is at, right? I think this is truly a life-changing skill, because it means that we don't get distracted from our desires, from the path that we're heading on. Think how often we're walking down our path, we're doing what we're doing, and then somebody goes, oh, I don't like that, or oh, why are you doing that, or oh, you're charging too much, or oh, I didn't like the way that you conducted yourself in that video, right? It's about them, it's not about me. But if I forget that, boom, I'm right off my path, I'm worried about what they're thinking, and I am further away from my desires than I was if I knew that the truth is, okay, it's about them. This is what's true for me. And again, right, I want to reiterate, we're human, right? It's gonna hurt and maybe it feels uncomfortable. But the more that we can get into alignment with that idea, the less it's going to bother us over time. So it's just that as we become more practiced and we build that muscle of really believing in ourselves and feeling confident about who we are, it takes us less time to recover. So we can be like, oh, that was hurtful. Oh, you know what? It's okay. And we're right back where we are and we're making progress. And here's something else that I think is absolutely essential. We have a path. We have desires. And if we are being thrown off by what one little person says, guess what? We need to get really comfortable with vulnerability, because getting in the ring and trying and living out loud, it's always going to receive criticism, because there are people who are so uncomfortable with themselves that they'd rather point the finger at us. The people who are saying, yes, I'm willing to get in when it's messy and my face is scarred and I'm sweating and I'm feeling like I'm getting beat up, right? It's what we do in those moments that counts. It's not that because we're evolved, conscious people, everything's easy. We experience all the same shit and heartache that anyone else would, from really successful to really, really struggling. And it's just that our relationship to it is different. And I believe that the premise of this statement, what someone else does is about them, not you, allows us to remember exactly that fact. And let's also make note of the fact that we have to be clear about our intention, right? Another one of these 32 life lessons: make every decision with intention. So if you are clear about what your desire is and about what you said in that video or about what you communicated with that friend, you can rest easy because your side of the street is clean. So if your intention is pure and it's clear, it doesn't matter so much what that other person thinks. Does that make sense, guys? Right? So I'm trying to kind of show you how these statements go so deep if we'll really look at them. And trust me, they're really interconnected. I love that you said that, Annette, living out loud. Good morning, Nancy. Nancy's my mother-in-law. I adore her. She just had a birthday last week. Mwah! Happy birthday. And I know that Kathy said, keep your side of the street clean, which I just mentioned. Yeah, it's such a great phrase. Hey guys, so that's kind of my portion of what I want to share with you this morning. I'd love to take some questions. So I'm going to open up my Facebook Messenger here. So what question do you have that you'd love answered, that you'd love some coaching around? There's no right or wrong question. Any question that you have, any doubt that you have is worthy of being answered here. Maybe there's something that just came up in the manifesto. Maybe there is something that I just said that's got you thinking or resonating with you. Maybe it's something completely different. Shoot me a private message and I'm going to give you a call. Download Messenger if you haven't already. And let's do some live coaching here. I'd really love to do that today. I also want to honor that this is new, right? And it might feel a little intimidating, a little vulnerable to get coached out loud. Vulnerability is a superpower. This is a safe space. I'm going to hold you and walk you through it. Let's see what comes up. Colleen says, worthy of my desires resonates with me. Yes. What do you want, Colleen? I find myself asking this a lot. Oh my gosh, totally. Yes. What do I want? What do I want in this world? We're so accustomed to feeling fear and becoming acquainted with the things that we don't want that we often forget to ask ourselves, what do I actually want? Like, what are my pure desires? And so I think that that's so beautiful, Colleen. I know that you and I have talked about that before, and I think it's a great reminder for anyone else on the phone or on the video today listening, right? If there is one thing I could encourage you to do, it would be to really take a piece of paper, look at the desires that you have and start writing them down. What do I desire? Set a timer for 7 minutes. Seems like a long time. Trust me, it's not. And just start writing. If you think it, write it. Trust your intuition. It can be a big desire. It can be a tiny desire. But oftentimes we wonder why we're not making progress in our lives. Well, guess what? It's because we haven't taken the time to figure out where we're headed. And if we don't have a destination in mind, we're going to try a bit of this, we're going to try a bit of that. Maybe we'll take this road. Okay, now it's going to turn right down here. And before we know it, we don't really know where we are and we haven't made the progress we want to make. So getting really acquainted with our desires is absolutely essential because it gives us benchmarks against which we can measure our progress. So that's an amazing exercise to do, the desire exercise. What do I desire? 7 minutes on a timer and just get writing. It's so beautiful. And you'll know what? You'll surprise yourself. Some of the things you'll know and other things you'll be like, wow, I didn't know I wanted that. And then you can start putting a plan in place to figure out, how do I get there? Or just giving it to God, giving it to the universe, giving it to whatever that higher power is that you believe in, right? And trusting that it's going to come your way. Because if you don't know how to get it, let it go. Just let it go. Just say, this is my desire. I'm aligning with the idea that I really want this desire in my life. I have no idea how, so I'm just going to give it up. I'm going to trust that some answers, some little crumbs are going to appear when they're supposed to, and that I'm awake enough that I'll pay attention to them. And so I think it's just such an amazing thing. And it's also like really fulfilling to sit down and actually acknowledge what are my desires, right? Totally love that. There's nothing that's going to raise our energy and make us feel good than really sitting down and doing that and then share it. Right? The more that you can share your desires out loud with people you love, with people you don't know, the more energy you're going to give them. And so they're going to start to come alive, which is even amazing. So just the act of speaking them out loud can change your relationship to them and their relationship to the universe instantly. Share them, share them, share them. It means you're claiming them. Let's go back to this question of how. Right? How is a really tricky little fucker, let me tell you, right? I have it in here. Let's see. Say yes and let go of needing to know how and why, okay? This is where we get stuck, right? We have an idea and then we think we're supposed to know all the reasons how and why we're going to bring it to fruition, why it's going to support people, like why we're doing it in the first place. I don't love the question why, right? It's actually a question I'm interested in very little because it tends to be a stumbling block and it also means we have to explain ourselves. So if we explain ourselves, we start getting in the weeds. We often start justifying, which takes us away from the pure desire of just wanting it. And so that's my point here. Is that why can't we just want it to want it? So if somebody asks me, oh, why do you want that? Because I love it. I love the idea. Like no other reason needed. If I want to say yes, I don't have to tell you why. I'm saying yes, I'm in. And it can really be a distraction. So I just want to share that with you. Think about that. Think about how you explain yourself. Think about how you justify. Think about that word because. Is it really needed what comes afterwards? Because blah, 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 blah. Oftentimes it's not. So that's a really great little tip. Paul says this exact topic is why I am working on a purpose statement, talking about the idea of desires. Yes, our desires oftentimes reveal what our purpose is right now, and our purpose is ever changing. So we have a purpose statement and then we kind of reach that. It becomes integrated for us. It becomes true. And then guess what? We're humans, so we evolve and we have new desires. We have a new purpose statement. Paul, yes, thumbs up. I am so glad that you're working on that. Good for you. We got a superstar in the house. Whoop, whoop. Okay, guys, so I'm kind of filling in here, and I'm like, I am happy to talk. I love though to coach. This is like such a great opportunity, guys. I've been coaching for over 5 years in my own practice. I coached in the corporate world before that. What questions do you have? Please share them in the comments. Please send me a private message on Messenger, and maybe we can get you live here and have a little coaching session together. It really will benefit you. I know there has got to be something that's on your mind, especially that came up either from the manifesto or that's just happening in your life. Life is so freaking complex. And oftentimes, I don't know about you, but I need support around that all the time because this brain of mine is tricky. I have 2 different coaches. I couldn't live life without them. And I just think that there's a space for me, or spaces, to get clear and receive the support I really desire. And I think that I think it's incredible to have that. Most people don't. That's one reason I'm so passionate about coaching, as I want to help people become even more conscious of how they're showing up in the world, because I believe if they're doing that, that's another way of saying yes to their magic. Everything about their reality can change. So no longer are things happening to them, but everything is happening for them. Talk about blinders off a life-changing revelation. When something happens to us that feels uncomfortable, that we don't like, we often play the victim. We do it. I do it. I was totally playing the victim yesterday to coming on here today because I couldn't figure out the technology. I had the phone, I had the computer, and I was like, why did I ever say I would do this, right? And it wasn't happening to me. It was happening for me. I was the one who wanted to put out there, ask the coach. And, I forget that all the time. So if you're anything like me, I need constant support, constant reminders, and all it needs is just a couple little sentences, a quick reframe, and I'm back into the truth of what is actually happening in my life. I am never a victim. You are never a victim. Remember, the manifesto says you always have a choice. Always. Even when you don't like what somebody else is doing. And remember, you can't control them. You cannot control them. You can never change what they're doing. But guess what? You have a choice about how you respond to it. You can choose to react or you can choose to respond. I wouldn't recommend reacting. We talked about this earlier, right? It really takes away from your sanity, your sense of serenity. Respond. You always have a choice about how you experience what they are doing. I think that is just so beautiful. So here's a question I received before today, and I'm going to go ahead and answer that. I was talking with a great lady. She had a great corporate career for many years, and she retired, and now she has a small business of her own in the network marketing space. So she's doing it from home, she's building it, she absolutely loves it, and she's trying to figure out what's her personal brand beyond that sort of marketing business, which I think is something that's so smart. This is something that Bob Heilig is teaching, right? So you don't just stand necessarily for the company that you represent, particularly if you're in network marketing. I know I have a bunch of gals who are in doTERRA, who are in Thrive, Advocare, the list just goes on. And by the way, this is going to be relevant for all of you, even though I'm sort of maybe talking about something that doesn't seem like it might be. I promise it is. And she was saying, Sarah, I'm not sure what my personal brand is. I'm still trying to figure that out. I've been doing this business for a couple of years now. I feel like I should have had answers by now. Here's something I know to be true, and she and I did some coaching around this. The only way to figure out what your personal brand is to get to know yourself, right? It's never going to be about finding the right technology, finding the right business name, making the best connections you can. All of those things are amazing, but it has to start with you, right? Invest in yourself. You aren't your business, but you drive your business, right? And this goes for anything. So if you're trying to figure out, how do I feel amazing and seen in my relationship? How do I interface with my colleagues? How do I approach that person about wanting to get this amazing speaking gig? How do I feel in right relationship to myself? All of the answers to those questions are exactly the same. You aren't your relationship, but you do know you, right? You drive you. You aren't your colleagues, but you can help drive the connection that you experience with them. And so anything that you want to improve in your life starts with building a better relationship with yourself. I don't care how you do that. Therapist, really insightful friend. Be careful of friends and family, because honestly, they love you. They're less likely to tell you the truth. In fact, pretty unlikely to tell you the truth. And if they do deliver a truth, there's just something a little messy about the relationship, because you're so close that you can't always see it and receive it. And also it's tainted because your family member is your freaking family member. But therapist, coach, mentor, some kind of group that is dedicated to how do I grow as a human. These are all amazing places to be, because again, this isn't something you just have to go out and do. But if you're looking to for solutions to a question, thanks Casey, I love that. Maria, you can't receive the video. Oh, everybody else is watching the video, right? You're not just getting this on audio. Maybe it's due to your wireless connection, Maria. Maybe that's what you mean. Thumbs up if you are seeing me, right? I'm assuming everyone's seeing me. I'm pretty sure you are. And so it's only if you're looking for some kind of solution. Okay, great. Make sure you get that support that you're really desiring. It's always going to be outside of yourself, because someone can give you the perspective that you can't get in your head. I can't see all the mess that's going on here all the time. I'm human. And so I really would encourage you guys to do that. So last call. We've been on the phone for about 40 minutes together, or on this Facebook Live. Absolutely loving connecting with you in this way. You guys have made some great comments, shared some great insights about what you love about the manifesto. So last call for some coaching. Maybe not last call, maybe I'm just going to hang out here for the whole hour, but I want to make sure that you're getting the value you desire. And so if you do have a question, if there's something you'd like to get coaching around, please feel free to private message me, and we can just hop on the line together and do some live coaching. Or if live coaching feels a little intimidating, pop a question in the comments below. Something really specific about your life or your business or your relationships, and I will do my best to answer that without necessarily us going backwards and forwards like we would do over the phone. This is a great spot to receive the support that you're really desiring, and I'm frigging stoked to be able to help. So again, you can connect with me on private messenger, send me a question, and then I'm going to give you a call, or you can just simply ask a question in the comments below. Also, something I really want to share with you. So for those of you who joined a little later, I read this beautiful Soul Sessions Your Manifesto. It's the 32 life lessons that I believe from all my coaching experience to date are essential if we are to live a juicy, turned on life and really feel like a vibrant woman. And so this is actually available to you guys. It's completely free. I also created a meditation version of it as well, so you can listen to me and my accent. I know it's pretty cute. In your ears. You can hear me in your ears. Of course you can hear me in your ears. And I am gonna, at the end of this video, I am gonna post the link to that in the comments below. So if you want to click through, grab the manifesto, grab the audio meditation, they'll come in an email together. That is going to be right there for you. It's absolutely the foundation of all my coaching. It's the foundation of Soul Sessions, the extravaganza, which is going to be a live, one-day, raw, high energy, and yet really intimate at times experience. It's going to be like a one-day retreat designed to help us say yes to our magic, so that we can walk away feeling really inspired and purposeful about the ideas that we have, right? So feel secure in those, number one, that's one of my goals. And two, that you can walk away with the energy to be able to put them into practice, because the world is waiting for your magic. That's going to be happening on Sunday, October the 15th. I'm going to be announcing tickets going on sale for that in the next couple of weeks. I'm also coming out with the self-study course, which is going to walk through each of these life lessons in detail. Every single one's going to have a video from me with really specific stories and insights. So I'm going to be really excited to share that with you as well. And it's just the foundation of my private coaching, the speaking that I'm doing. So if you truly kind of want to get acquainted with what I stand for as a coach and how this can impact your life, I'd highly recommend going and downloading it for free. I know that we had a couple comments here, so I just wanted to acknowledge those. Oh, Annette asks a question here, so I'm just reading it out loud. How do you keep following up with your purpose when life gets in the way? How do you keep following up with your purpose when life gets in the way? Oh, this is, juicy question. And I just want to acknowledge, I'm going to come right back to that, Annette. I just want to acknowledge the question that Kathy wrote. You have incredible energy. Thank you so much, Kathy. That's such a compliment coming from you, because I know you do as well. How do you recommend refreshing your spirit on a daily basis? Okay, excellent. So, Kathy, I'm going to come right back to your question. Annette, here I am. Great questions, ladies. Thank you so much for posting those. How do you keep following up with your purpose when life gets in the way? So first thing I would say is, how clear are you about your purpose, right? And I don't know that answer for you, Annette, but I think this is a good question, and it's a good reminder for all of us, right? We might think that we know our purpose, but it might be really vague. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is ask yourself, what is my purpose? And really sit down and write that out and get as specific as you can, right? Also asking yourself, what is my definition of purpose? Like, is this just kind of my guiding star? Like, this is the person I want to be. These are the values I stand for. Or is purpose a combination of that with some really specific goals? That way, if you know exactly what your definition of purpose is, you can measure your progress against it. So I would firstly say, get really clear about how you define purpose, and then really get clear about your answer to that question. Because what I find with most of my clients is the answers aren't that clear. They're like, well, you know, I'd really like to grow my business by X amount. You know, I really want to have a great relationship with my husband, with my children. You know, I would like to be making, oh, I kind of just said that, right? I'd like to be making X amount a month, or grow my business X amount. I'd like to have a dream home. So you see how it starts to get like a little messy already? It's like a mixture of purpose and goals. So there's like macro level, and then there's what's the opposite of macro? Mini levels, whatever the opposite is. It's eluding me. So that would be the first thing I would say. How clear is that for you? And then secondly, how do you keep following up with it when life gets in the way, right? This is about discipline. I truly believe that. And so going after what we want isn't easy, right? It really requires discipline. You know what? The book, The War of Art, I'm reading that at the moment, talks about this very thing. He describes being a writer and he says, guess what, right? I don't necessarily want to sit down at 9 a.m. and write, but I know that I must because I'm not an amateur, I'm a pro. So you can ask yourself, Annette, am I an amateur when it comes to my purpose or am I a pro? Well, guess what? A pro gets his butt in the chair or gets her butt in the chair at 9 a.m. and works for the 4 hours. I'm glad you're asking this question because quite frankly, it's something I need to hear as well. I think that there's a lot of feminine energy around, working when the inspiration strikes. Well, that's an amateur approach. A pro says, guess what? I'm going to write, and because I'm writing, inspiration is going to strike. And so I think that that's a really beautiful distinction. And when you're really clear about your purpose, and you remember that discipline is required to get to your purpose and really experience your purpose in all of its reality, so to speak. What was I going to say? We remember that we must show up. We must show up, and a great way to show up is to say, what are the most important things I can do right now? Because oftentimes life just happens, right? And so we get up and we're like, oh my gosh, I got to take the kids, I got to answer this phone call, boom, boom, boom. And we're not really intentional about how we're using our time. So what are the most important things I can do right now? Guess what? I'm not going to check my email. I need to create that piece of content. I need to speak with so-and-so because these are the 2 or 3 things that are going to get me closer to my purpose. And so before I get into the business, totally confused oftentimes, of my day, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do the 2 to 3 things that are most important because nobody else is going to be responsible for living my purpose, only me. And if life is getting in my way, it's because I am choosing to allow that to happen because the distractions are more comfortable than the discomfort of really being in the space of doing the work that is aligned with my purpose. Here's the thing about purpose. Here's the thing about your magic, right? You want it, we want it, and yet we'll do anything to sabotage it because it's inherently uncertain to go after our purpose, right? We get in that ring and we don't know what's going to happen. We're open to uncertainty, to fear, to criticism, which means that we're vulnerable. And because as humans we're wired for certainty, we'd rather avoid that uncertainty, even though it's the thing that actually causes us the most pain as a result. So we self-sabotage all day long. So I kind of answered that with a whole bunch of different pieces of the puzzle. Annette, how helpful was that? Have I answered your question? Because I want to make sure that that feels complete for you before I move on to Kathy's question. If you have any kind of follow-up, please post that and I'll do my best to clarify or add something that you feel was missing. That was such a good question. Woo! I feel like I'm on fire. I woke up this morning, guys, I was feeling a little whoop whoop. Had to kind of get myself straight because I wanted to be on point for you, but oh my gosh, you guys are firing me up. Thank you so much for being here. I love this. I can't wait to do this every Monday. And you know what? Maybe I'm in the ring and I'm trying. I don't know what's going to be the right formula here. Maybe questions like this is the way to go as opposed to trying to do it live. I love it. Whatever works. Annette says, great, yes. Okay, beautiful. Awesome. Hi, Kim. Oh my gosh. Kim just bought a new house. She's an amazing lady. Kim, I'm also going to need some Beauty Counter mascara. It's on my list. And she's just a great gal. If you do not know Kimberly Luby, please friend her. Okay, Kathy, here we go. How do you recommend refreshing, in inverted commas, your spirit on a daily basis? That's such a great question. I think it's a really personal process for everybody. And I think there are many different ways to refresh. So I'm just going to share some ideas and we'll see if they spark some inspiration in you and you kind of take them and make them your own based on your reality. So I think that living a life where you truly experience like toddler type joy on a regular basis is a must. So looking at how your life is organized, how you've designed your life, I think is really essential. And I don't think it's big changes. I mean, I know you somewhat, Kathy, and I know that you have a beautiful life for all intents and purposes, right? I don't know the details of that. But what I mean is it's probably just some small tweaks. So really just saying like, am I experiencing childlike joy on a regular basis? And if I'm not, how can I create that? Like what creates that delight, that curiosity in me? Because I think that as women, we really have to become devoted to creating spaces for that. I believe it's the absolute rejuvenation. And I think it doesn't necessarily cost money, but really, really paying attention to the answers to those questions. And so a way to do that, right, is not necessarily just sitting down and thinking about it, but as you're going through your life, have this question top of mind. Like, what and who brings me complete joy, right? And like complete joy is a really high bar. So it's not just like a little giggle, it's like complete joy. And so if you're conscious of that question, what you're going to find is, oh, like when I speak to Susie, I always feel so giggly. And I've always known that I love to talk to Susie. But now that I'm being really intentional about excavating for pure joy, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna friggin' talk to Susie more, right? Like I wasn't quite so conscious of how Susie impacted my life. When I have dinner here, or when I eat this, or when I am at home in the bath, right? Like, oh yeah, like just really tuning into how that feeling shows up in your body and then starting to say, wow, if I feel like that, how can I create more of it? So I think that that's really one beautiful way to refresh your spirit on a daily basis. I think meditation is huge. I think it allows us to quiet our mind. It allows us to gain perspective about not what's true, but what the truth is, right? We often mistake facts as like, we often mistake our feelings as facts, and that's not necessarily the case. In fact, our feelings aren't necessarily facts, right? But they can kind of lead us down a rabbit hole. So meditation, I think, is just a really beautiful way to center. And I think there are many ways to meditate, right? Sometimes I put on an amazing song like I did at the beginning of this video today, and I just dance like a crazy woman, right? And I sing the lyrics because I love to sing and dance. Some days I don't want to get really quiet. And that's really, really refreshing for me. And the third thing I'll say, Kathy, is I particularly love the idea of how, as women, do we really make space for ourselves. This is somewhat aligned with the first question, but it's slightly different. Like, how do we really carve out those spaces when we have businesses and children and just a really full life? And I think that we have to remember that we have to, no other choice, take care of ourselves first. That doesn't mean every single minute of every day we're the number one priority. That's not realistic. It just means that on a regular basis, we are coming back and prioritizing ourselves first. Because if we do that, we allow our cup to stay relatively full. What happens is when we allow our cup to drain, well, guess what? When it's drained, it's empty, there's nothing left, and all we see is literally the teacup at the bottom because there's no liquid. We don't have anything more to give. So that's when we literally feel drained, which is the opposite of refreshed. So being able to say, I am committed as a woman to keeping my cup pretty full and taking care of myself, and being able to acknowledge when it's empty. So if I'm testy, if I'm fucking annoyed with all of you because you're driving me crazy and you're not doing what I want and works, right? Guess what? It's not about them, it's about me. There's some work I have to do to fill up. And one way of staying full is exactly what I said as number one, right? Is what brings me like just childlike joy, because if I'm in that state and I become an expert at cultivating that joy in my life, my cup's going to stay pretty full naturally. So 1 and 3 go together. So Kathy, I hope that answers your question. Please, so I'm kind of reading the comments as I'm scrolling here. Please let me know, did that answer your question? And if so, if it didn't, what follow-up do you have? Kathleen's here. Hello, my darling Kathleen. Susan, how do you know Sarah? Oh, cool. I'm not sure which Susan Annette you're talking about. Is it Susan Restad? If so, it was from Mastermind. Kathy says, I wish I could hug you through the phone. This was perfect, thank you. Carving out time for myself, something I definitely need to work on. Here's a hug. Mwah, love you too. And yes, we all do, and it can be a tricky thing, but I'm glad that you were here, because this was a space to remind you that you are so freaking magical. This is how I open the call, and you deserve that space. Yes, gorgeous. Annette says, I will re-listen and write down your points. Fabulous. And let's see. Okay, you know what, guys? I actually mistakenly scheduled an 11 o'clock call. So I have 3 minutes and there's 2 more questions on the board, and I really want to answer them. So I am going to give you my very best shot in now 2 minutes. Casey asks, should our purpose be our passion? My response to that is I think my response is no, Casey, because I think our purpose can be different at different times in our life based on the needs of ourselves, of our family, just based on what's happening in our lives. I definitely think we should be passionate about our purpose, right? Because our purpose is something we want to create. It's something we want to strive for. And so I think it's imperative that we're passionate about it. And if we're not, how can you make yourself, or how can you figure out a way to be passionate around it? Because if you want it, there's a reason you want it. So if you're feeling resistance to it, that might be really normal because it's helping you grow. It could also be that there's just like a little tweak in mindset that it's happening for you, not to you, and that can help you embrace that passionate side of you. So I hope that answers your question, Casey. And if we can follow up on that, that's what I'm trying to say. If there's more there for you, or if that's enough. Amalia, hi Sarah, I've got a question regarding getting to know yourself. I've been getting to know myself better for the last few years and still learning. In the meantime, doing business, not exactly clear. Amalia, I'm not sure if there's more to your comment there. I'm not sure exactly what your question is. I'd love for you to clarify so that I can give any perspective that could be helpful. By the way, guys, getting to know yourself is lifelong, right? It never stops. So I love that you've been really digging in for 2 years, Amalia, and you recognize you're still learning, because we always will be. I believe this is truly a lifelong journey. In the meantime, doing business, not exactly clear. Let me just scroll down and see. Oh, Casey said I needed to hear that. Thank you. Oh, Susan is a high school classmate. Okay, great, Annette. Super. Susan, hi. I don't believe that we've ever met before, but it's beautiful to connect with you here if you're still on the line. On the video. I don't even know how you say that. So maybe, Amalia, you're just saying, I've been getting to know myself, I've been doing this for 2 years, but when it comes to my business, I'm still not 100% clear. I think that can be really normal, right? What's your intention for doing your business? Maybe it just needs a little more time. Maybe your business is exactly where it's supposed to be. Maybe it's supporting you in ways that you don't even know yet, because oftentimes our learning comes later. So maybe the reasons that you and your business are in relationship with one another are still to be revealed to you. If you're loving it and you're finding some joy from it, then it's definitely working for you. And I think that just trusting to doing your own work is by far the best place you can be. And I promise it's still going to lead you toward greater clarity. Patience, patience, patience. I've already mentioned Gary Vee once today. He is a huge proponent of this. I forget it all the time. We absolutely must deploy patience in order to see the results that we truly desire. So, Amalia, I just want to support you and say, ask yourself, is the personal growth work you're doing satisfying enough? Do you need to level up with it and find greater support so that maybe you can do a little bit more excavating of yourself at a deeper level? And and ask yourself the same about your business. Are you finding joy in it? Does it feel inspiring and enlightening for you to be there? And if the answer to that is yes, you're in the right spot, I promise. And I think that you're doing great. Most people never take the time to invest in themselves. With that, guys, it's 11:02. I'm going to remember next week and every other week not to schedule an 11 a.m. call. I thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to peace out because I want to make sure I respect the time of Bob, actually, my mentor now, who I'm hopping on the phone with. And I'm going to post the link for you to be able to download your free manifesto and get your meditation so you can listen to my dulcet tones. I'm going to catch you next Monday where we can have just as much of a rich discussion. You're all amazing. You're all magical. Peace out.